Three, two, one. We are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Devontae Colonel, and welcome to another episode of the Inspired Challenge podcast. On today's episode, we are going to be continuing the series of the 7 pillars of attraction as outlined by me, your host, Devontae Colonel. In today's episode, the theme that we're going to be talking about as an absolutely important part of attraction to someone that you want to go after is sacrifice. So the concept of sacrifice is something that has been deeply ingrained in human history, right? This is something that we all have heard of, whether it was cases of biblical sacrifice, whether it was case of romantic sacrifice, think your Romeo and Juliet's. And it's often revered as a noble act that signifies dedication, commitment, and strength. Now, in the realm of relationships, a man's willingness to sacrifice can profoundly impact his attractiveness to women. So we're going to delve into the psychology behind this phenomenon, and we're going to explore various studies, research findings, and real-world examples to illustrate how sacrifice can elevate a man's desirability. And by examining these factors, we're going to aim to provide a comprehensive understanding of why sacrifice is a crucial component in the dynamics of attraction. So first off, we need to start by defining sacrifice. Now, to understand how sacrifice affects attraction, it is essential to define what sacrifice means in the context of relationships. Now, sacrifice can be seen as giving up something valuable for the benefit of another person. And this can range from time, energy, and resources to more profound acts such as changing one's lifestyle or career goals. And the willingness to sacrifice reflects a level of commitment and prioritization of the partner's needs over one's own. Now, when it comes to time sacrifice, this involves allocating personal time to spend with a partner, and it's oftentimes putting aside personal interests and hobbies. For example, a man might choose to spend his free weekend helping his partner with a project instead of pursuing his hobbies. When it comes to something like a financial sacrifice, this can include spending money on things that benefit the partner or the relationship. Now, this can be something like planning special dates or making career choices that prioritize the partner's career. And then finally, career sacrifice. This sometimes means that a man can make a career sacrifice for the sake of the relationship, such as relocating for his partner's job or choosing a less demanding job in order to spend more time with the family. This is what you see many people who have been working in the field for 30, 40 plus years, and finally they've decided they've made enough money, and now what's more important is that time with family rather than any dollar amount that can be brought to the table as a result of the sacrifice of family time. So let's look at this from the evolutionary perspective real quick. Now, from an evolutionary standpoint, sacrifice can be linked to mate selection. Now, historically, men who demonstrated a willingness to sacrifice were perceived as more reliable and capable of providing for their partners and offspring. Now, this evolutionary perspective suggests that women are biologically wired to seek out men who exhibit these traits. as they signal a higher likelihood of survival and success for their children. So, in evolutionary biology, men who could provide and protect their families were more likely to pass on their genes. Sacrificial behavior indicated resource availability and the ability to secure the family's future, making them more attractive mates. Now, when it comes to parental investment theory, according to this theory, women prefer men who show signs of commitment and willingness to invest resources, as this increases the survival chances of their offspring. Let's continue now. So, when we talk about sacrifice, the next part that comes up is the psychological insights that we have to look at with sacrifice and attraction. And a certain term comes up, and that term is altruism. Now, psychological research has consistently shown that altruism is a highly attractive trait. And a study published in the British Journal of Psychology found that altruistic behavior significantly increases a man's desirability as a long-term partner. This is because altruism, a form of self-sacrifice, signals empathy, kindness, and a willingness to invest in others' well-being, which are qualities that are highly valued in a romantic partner. When it comes to altruistic acts, simple acts of kindness, such as volunteering or helping strangers, can make a man more attractive. These acts indicate a nurturing and compassionate nature, which are desirable traits in a long-term partner. Think of the man you see helping the old lady cross the street, the man that you see helping a older person enter in by holding the door for them. Altruistic acts. When it comes to empathy and compassion, altruistic behavior often stems from empathy and compassion, suggesting that a man is capable of understanding and sharing the feelings of others, which also makes him more appealing. Now, something that we touched on before, and this goes into commitment and trust. So sacrifice also plays a crucial role in building trust and commitment within a relationship. When a man willingly makes sacrifices, it demonstrates to his partner that he is invested in the relationship's success and longevity. This will then foster a deeper sense of security and trust, which are foundational elements of a healthy and attractive relationship dynamic. So let's talk about trust building real quick. Consistent sacrifices show reliability and predictability, which are crucial for building trust. For example, a man who sacrifices his comfort to support his partner during tough times proves his reliability. Now, in terms of long-term commitment, sacrifices often indicate a man's willingness to maintain their relationship for the long haul, reassuring the partner of the man's intentions. Now, when it comes to sacrifice, there are certain things to definitely pay attention to. Sacrifices are mutual in terms of a relationship. There should be reciprocity when it comes to one person sacrificing and another person sacrificing. It should not be to benefit one of the partners. It should not always benefit the woman as a man. There should be sacrifice from the woman to the man as well. This should be a sacrifice. Each person should be able to make their own sacrifice. And through the exchange of these sacrifices, there is a mutual benefit for the overall relationship. So, the principle of reciprocity suggests that acts of sacrifice can lead to a cycle of positive behavior within a relationship. When one partner makes a sacrifice, it often encourages the other to reciprocate, thus creating a beneficial dynamic. The reciprocal behavior strengthens the bond between partners and it enhances the overall attractiveness of the relationship. So, this cycle of positive behavior, right? Sacrificial acts by one partner to inspire the other to act similarly, fostering a positive and supportive relationship environment. This mutual benefit strengthens the relationship and enhances its stability. Also, emotional investment. Reciprocal sacrifices demonstrate mutual emotional investment, and this deepens the connection, which ends up enhancing attraction. Singular sacrifices beneficial to one party indicates singular investment. Both parties should be investing mutually, emotionally, and resource-wise. So let's go ahead and talk about the impact of sacrifice on relationship satisfaction. Now, a study conducted by Van Lange examined the role of sacrifice in relationship satisfaction. And the findings indicated that individuals who perceived their partners as willing to make sacrifices reported higher levels of relationship satisfaction and emotional intimacy. This suggests that sacrifice not only boosts a man's attractiveness, but also contributes to a more fulfilling and satisfying relationship. Higher relationship satisfaction was found in a study that looked at couples who engaged in mutual sacrifices, and they were more satisfied with their relationships. This satisfaction stems from the feeling of being valued and prioritized. When it comes to emotional intimacy, sacrifices create a sense of closeness, emotional intimacy, which is crucial for a deep and meaningful relationship. So when it comes to sacrifice and the perceived value of something, there was research done by a gentleman by the name of Kogan, who explored how sacrifice influences perceived behavior, or rather perceived value within a relationship. The study found that individuals who engaged in selfless acts for their partners were seen as more valuable and irreplaceable. This perceived value is a critical component of attraction, as it elevates the individual's status within the relationship and enhances their desirability. So, for increased perceived value, sacrificial acts make an individual appear more valuable to their partner. This perceived irreplaceability enhances attraction and strengthens the relationship. For long-term impact, the lasting impression of sacrificial acts can have long-term benefits for the relationship, which will make the person more desirable as a partner. So there are some differences in sacrifice depending on gender. So while both men and women value sacrifice, studies have shown that the impact of sacrifice on attraction can differ between genders. Research published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that women place a higher emphasis on their partner's willingness to sacrifice, viewing it as a key indicator of long-term commitment and reliability. This gender difference highlights the unique ways in which sacrifice influences the attraction for men and women. Now, different emphasis is placed on sacrifice. Women tend to value sacrificial acts more as they are often viewed as indicators of a partner's long-term commitment and reliability. And evolutionarily, the difference can be traced back to evolutionary roles where women sought reliable partners who could provide for them and their offspring. So when it comes to real-world examples of sacrifice in relationships, throughout history, there are numerous examples of sacrifices that have been celebrated, romanticized. You can consider the story of Sir Walter Raleigh, who famously laid his cloak over the muddy puddle so Queen Elizabeth could walk across without dirtying her shoes. Now, this act of chivalry and sacrifice not only demonstrated Raleigh's respect and admiration for the Queen, but also cemented his status as a romantic and noble figure. When it comes to symbolic acts, Raleigh's act is symbolic of the sacrifices that men have made historically to demonstrate their dedication and respect. Such acts enhance their attractiveness by showcasing their willingness to prioritize others. Now, as far as a cultural impact, these historical examples can continue to influence modern perceptions of sacrifice and attraction, reinforcing the idea that selflessness is a desirable trait. When we look at some more modern examples, acts of sacrifice can be seen in various forms, such as a man who relocates to a different city to support his partner's career ambitions, or a father who sacrifices personal time and hobbies to be actively involved in his children's lives. These modern day examples illustrate how sacrifice continues to play a vital role in relationships, enhancing a man's attractiveness through his actions and dedication. For the career sacrifice piece, men who prioritize partners' career by making significant personal sacrifices, such as relocating or taking on more household responsibilities, demonstrate their commitment and reliability. For parental sacrifice, fathers who actively participate in their children's lives, even at the cost of their personal interest, exhibit a high level of dedication, making them more attractive as partners and parents. Some people we can look at in the celebrity world would be someone as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who frequently speaks about the sacrifices he makes for his family, including adjusting his busy schedule to spend quality time with his daughters. Now, such acts of sacrifice are widely publicized and contribute to his image as a devoted family man, further enhancing his attractiveness to fans and admirers. So when it comes to the public image, celebrities like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson showcase their sacrifices publicly, which enhances their image as committed and reliable individuals. And this public display of sacrifice makes them more attractive and relatable. For role models, high-profile examples typically serve as role models, influencing societal perceptions of sacrifice and attraction. The truth is, your average person living their average life is not a role model to the masses of people. A celebrity stature person is going to have that massive sway, such as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson does. So sacrifice is a beautiful concept, but there is certainly a dark side to it that we have to cover. So there is a resentment that can build And while sacrifices can enhance interaction, it is essential to recognize the potential downside. Excessive, or as I've said before, one sided sacrifice can lead to feelings of resentment and imbalance within a relationship. If one partner is consistently making sacrifices without reciprocation, it can create a sense of being undervalued and taken for granted, ultimately harming the relationship's dynamics. Now, when we talk about an imbalance in sacrifice, when they're not mutual, the partner making more sacrifices feels more unappreciated and can become resentful, which can lead to relationship dissatisfaction. There can be communication issues on this, right? When there's a lack of communication about sacrifices, um, sacrifices can exacerbate feelings of resentment, and it can highlight the need for more open discussions about each partner's contributions. When it comes to maintaining healthy boundaries, this is something that must be done as sacrifices begin to be made more frequently. So, to avoid the negative consequences of sacrifice, it is crucial to maintain healthy boundaries, right? So, both partners should feel comfortable communicating their needs and ensuring that sacrifices are mutual and balanced. This approach fosters a healthier and more sustainable relationship where both individuals feel valued and respected. Now, when it comes to balanced sacrifices, ensuring that both partners make and appreciate sacrifices creates a more balanced and fulfilling relationship. And with open communication, regularly discussing each partner's needs and sacrifices helps maintain a healthy balance and prevents resentment. So let's go ahead and talk about some actual practical tips for sacrifice in relationships. So there are such things as small acts of sacrifice. You're not always going to have to change your life around, right? By incorporating sacrifice into a relationship, it doesn't always require grand gestures. Small, everyday acts of sacrifice, such as making time for a partner's interests, compromising on decisions, or offering emotional support during challenging times, can significantly enhance attraction and strengthen the relationship. Right? With daily actions, I say it again, simple actions like making a partner's favorite meal or helping with household chores can demonstrate care and dedication. With emotional support, providing the emotional support during a tough time is a significant form of sacrifice that strengthens the relationship. So, something with sacrifice, as we've discussed, was communication, right? Open communication is key to understanding and appreciating each other's sacrifices. Regularly discussing the efforts made for one another, it helps to foster gratitude, recognition, and it's reinforcing the positive impact of sacrifice on the relationship, right? Expressing gratitude, that is acknowledging and appreciating each other's sacrifice. And that strengthens the bond and it enhances mutual respect, right? The next thing with open communication, hey, regular check ins, right? Having regular discussions about each partner's needs and sacrifices helps to maintain a balanced and healthy relationship. So, when it comes to sacrifice, there is boundaries that need to be taken into consideration, communication, but you also have to balance sacrifice with self-care. So while sacrifice is important, it is equally essential to balance it with self-care, ensuring that both partners prioritize their well-being and happiness prevents burnout and maintains a healthy dynamic within the relationship. So, when it comes to self care practices, encouraging each partner to take time for self care helps to maintain personal well being, and it prevents burnout from excessive sacrifices. Mutual support is huge, right? Supporting each other's self care routines and ensuring that both partners remain healthy and happy, it contributes to a more balanced relationship. So, look, we bring it all to a close, we bundle it all up together. The willingness to sacrifice is a powerful and influential factor to a man's attractiveness to women through evolutionary perspectives, psychological insights, research studies, real world examples, and biblical support. It is easy to see the multifaceted ways in which sacrifice enhances desirability. The Bible says there is no greater love than to lay down one's life for another. Jesus came and died on a cross as a sacrifice, literal sacrifice, but God also sacrificed his son. While it's important to recognize the potential pitfalls of excessive sacrifice, maintaining a balanced and mutual approach can lead to deeper connections, trust, and maintaining a balanced and mutual approach for deeper connections. Ultimately, understanding and embracing the role of sacrifice can help individuals cultivate more meaningful and attractive partnerships. Now, this has been part 5 of sacrificial or the pillars of attraction, right? Sacrifice. Thank you guys. If y'all have been following the series, if you found it valuable, I appreciate it. Make sure to leave a like and a comment. Share this out to someone who may be lacking this pillar. Maybe they need to understand that it takes give and take in a relationship in order to make that thing work. And it's not just a romantic relationship. This is friendship relationships. This is parent to child relationships. This is just coworker. There is sacrifice that has to be made for every kind of relationship. Thank you guys for everyone that comes and watches this on the playback. I hope that you enjoy it, and may you have an amazing weekend. This is day number 22, 22 days in a row live streaming. We are keeping it going. We ain't stopping. We're going all 30 days of June. Not a single one missed. One that was real close, but we did get it in. So thank you guys for watching this, and I hope it's been insightful for you. And I will see you guys on the next episode of the Inspired Podcast. Take care.